Now going to look at the more advanced controls for the color slice. We're going to look at saturation and density depth. Now I'm using a stock photo from Unsplash here, which I cannot redistribute, and credit goes to Cheng Feng for taking this image. The task here is to give the neon sign in the upper center of the image a hot, white core. Right now it doesn't quite have the effect we expect of neon. I want the text to be white with a magenta glow all around it. And we're going to do this entirely within the color slice using the depth control settings. So first, we're just going to double check the qualification of the magenta color slice, and that looks pretty good. It's got the sign, and that's all I really want to affect here, so I'm pretty happy with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the saturation down. But the problem is this hits the wall as well, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to dial this in with the saturation depth control. I'm going to drag it to the right until I'm happy that I've got a nice pink glow, but more readable white text up here. So what just happened? The saturation depth controls how saturated a pixel needs to be before it is acted upon by our correction. When I drag the saturation depth up, it says I only want to work with pixels that are more saturated, and if I drag it down or to the left, less saturated. Doing this, I have preserved our darker, less saturated magenta values, and we're pretty close to what I want here. Next, I'll up the density to increase the readability of the text. Now this is hitting the wall. So just like with the sat depth, we have a density depth, which I'm going to drag up to a similar level. And that gets me what I want from this neon sign. The kind of soft glow on the wall is intact. The text is now more readable, and it looks more like a kind of neon sign. It has hit the signage of the food cart here. So what I'll do is I'll just make a garbage mat around the food cart. There, we're done with this particular correction. Now, these controls are difficult to use, primarily because you're never going to get close to 100% saturation on the majority of footage. The neon sign here is an extreme example. And unfortunately, the depth controls don't feel like they have the precision you might want to select, for example, skin highlights, and there's no control of the fall-off for the threshold set by the depth controls either. For these reasons, I occasionally use the depth controls on footage with practical lights, like this photo here, or nightclubs, city streets at night, those kinds of scenes. So we've now covered the color slice, and we're going to go back to the short sequence again. So click on through to the next lecture once you're ready.